Hey, thank you for coming to my show. I think you'll hear something today that makes you click that like button, share with your people, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Let's stay connected. Tell me what you think in the comments. Thank you for joining me. My name is Lionel Gentle, and I am the host of Our Unseen Roots. I started this to highlight and recognize the women of the community that are nourishing the Black community. And today's guest is Tosha Wilson, who is definitely one of our unseen roots. Hello, Tasha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Um, First question: who are you?
Who am I? Um, Outside of my name being Tosha Wilson, I'm a daughter. I am a sister who's also an adoptive parent of those sisters. They're adults now, thankfully, but they just haven't moved out of my house. I'm a dog mom. I'm a police officer. I think I'm funny. um, I'm a lot of things. I'm a sleepyhead. I love to sleep. And I am a community lover, a business builder. I'm all sorts of things. So it all depends on the day, the hour, and so on. But outside of being just me, I'm just a simple girl from Evanston who wants to make change amongst her people.
Mhm. What has been the life forming incident in your life?
Life forming incident. I mean, I think there are many, but I do put emphasis on the crack cocaine epidemic and having both of my parents who had us young. My dad was 22, my mom was 21. We don't think of those as young ages, but I feel like they succumbed to the crack cocaine epidemic that tore a lot of families apart. And around age 11 or 12, I think it hit me to where I had to go into survival mode in a lot of ways. Thankfully, they were bright enough and smart enough to articulate what was happening in our lives, that it had nothing to do with us and that we had to keep pushing. But I will say those moments in time were definitely life defining and the reason why I kind of maneuver the way I do.
Yeah, yeah. Um, as a Black woman, what is your greatest superpower?
Being able to communicate with anyone, anywhere, at any time. And I feel like I don't fear many rooms or if none at all. And so no matter who's in there, I feel like being a Black woman kind of puts you at either a disadvantage or an advantage. The disadvantage is that people don't really know who we are. They don't know how to engage us. They have their tropes and their stereotypes. But I think we are such natural nurturers that we can shift any room by just speaking from our souls and our hearts. And I think that is one of my superpowers as a Black woman.
Mhm. And you use that superpower as a coach on your fam team to shift the mindset and the movement of your team.
I do. I do. I mean, I love those kids and to watch them go from, I don't know what I'm doing, to me telling them that they're capable of anything and then watching it kind of manifest within 2 to 3 years where they actually believe it. I'm not like a coach. I don't draw up X's and O's. I'm not running motion. I might throw in a zone defense on you, but other than that, I have
Yeah,
no plan other than to make them believe that they're close to God and whatever they choose to do. If it's the court, if it's the classroom, there's nothing. So they're not allowed to say I can't in practice and things like that. So I use communication big time with those kids, and you could see the difference in them when it's
yeah.
time.
Is it easier for you as a police officer, but also being known as a fam coach, to reach your students, your players, and even friends of theirs outside of being a coach, because you are a coach and can relate to them and have a relationship with them?
Yeah, it helps. I don't think they know I'm the police until like later down the line. I might show up to a game in full uniform, and it's the third game in, and they're like, "Wait, you're the police?" And
Right.
then, yeah, I am. But um, I think it helps with building the humanness that I am all the time. Police officers are human. So I think it builds like whatever fears or whatever they've heard, all of it kind of goes out of the window. And they're just like, that's just coach. And it's the same with when I was younger and your father-in-law was the police, and we don't know him as Officer Fultz or Sergeant Fultz. I mean, he was just coach. I mean, he's still coach.
It's
That's
so
just
true.
what it was. So we just have generations of coaches who look like us, who understand us, and they just happen to be the police. And the police part was never important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. What nourishes you?
Other than sleep and good ice cream, um, just watching people grow, like watching things grow. Um, I'm not like some sort of green thumb plant person, but I know why people who grow plants and they talk to them, and
Yeah.
there's like a process. So I think the process nourishes me. And I am one of those people who can't see, like people could walk into a room and can decorate the room. I don't have that vision. Like I can see the end result of how it wanted, but I don't always see the process. And I think working through different processes helps me like appreciate, like, okay, I get this, I understand this, I love this, and I keep pushing in that way. So I think growth and process nourishes me.
Mhm. Who has helped you to become the woman you are today?
I would definitely say my parents. I mentioned before, even though they struggled with um, drug addiction for many years, I give them so much grace because they were 21 and 22. And I never knew that until I became like 35. And I'm like, my parents were super young, but their ability to give life, talk to us about anything. My father can talk to me about anything under the sun from the time I was like, he was talking to me in my mom's belly, and that is like documented. Like he was talking to me before I got here, and I'm 45 years old now, and he's still talking to me. And so my dad was like the voice, and my mom was like the mover, and just watching them do and how they like right now, my mom's in the next room. She's probably doing something to make just life a little easier for her kids. And so I would say my young parents are are those folks for me.
Yeah. Do you believe you're living your purpose? Why or why not?
I think I'm on the path to. I think I'm supposed to have a whole lot more money to help a whole lot more people. So I'm en route with that. Um, I think that my purpose is people, even though I'm very, I won't say antisocial, but I think I'm an introvert by nature. And
Mhm.
I just have extroverted kind of understandings. I know how to move in spaces, but I prefer to always kind of just be by myself. And I've always been that way, even as a kid. And so people wouldn't think that, but um, my purpose is to help people, whether it's in wealth and health and growing businesses with the Ox, or being at the police department and helping people in their worst times. Like I see people in their worst times. And sometimes I don't think people, it goes beyond whatever YouTube video you've watched or traffic stop. Like this goes layers and layers and layers deep into just being with people in their homes, when their family members pass away. Like I'm there, and that means a lot to me. So I think my purpose is people, no matter how I get there. So I just got to get a little bit more money. That'll be in the business side. And so I can help others build wealth and generational wealth and understanding. So I'm
Yeah.
on my way.
Yeah. Do you feel like you figured out a path to helping people grow generational wealth?
I have. I do think that with the Ox, and the Ox is the wellness hub that my partners and I are building currently in the southwest side of Evanston, where we have purchased a building. We have businesses going in, including Chef Q, by the way. So when you get a hold of her, she'll tell you all about it. But we are going to sell that business back to the community through investment, and hopefully not just building the generational wealth with money, but also with our kids being able to see us do something. So therefore they want that. And I think that is the benefit to me growing up in Evanston. When I did is I saw Black people kicking butt. They were business owners. So it was normal to me. They were our teachers, they were our police officers, they were our garbage men and women. They were everything all the time. And so it was normalized. And so now I feel like I'm in an odd space because these kids don't get to see that. So generational wealth is a mentality also. So with the Ox, my partners and I are trying to build wealth mentally and, with our bags. Like this way too.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, I remember Mr. Leon Robinson, was a bus driver. He started the bus company. You had Jared Davis's dad, Davis Cab Company. I mean, you're right. Evanston has been rich with entrepreneurs, and I mean, I could go on and on. And I think you guys are on to something because I think you have some entrepreneurs in today's day that want to be a part of that as well. And you know, I yeah, I definitely think you're on to something.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Aside from sleep, what do you wish you had more time for in your life?
Um, Not being at this might sound weird, but not being at someone else's beck and call. So maybe like traveling to where I can grow and just cater to yourself for a little bit because
Mm,
there's no way you can pour into people when you don't pour into yourself. So I would say more time to travel, more time to see the world, see different perspectives. Because the more I travel the world, I realize that the things that we know, someone else told us. So we don't have like that personal, you know, touch. And sorry if you hear my dog; he's rolling around in his bed over here. But
sorry, can't hear
I
me at
would
all.
definitely, I would definitely say, traveling and meeting people and talking to people in just a different perspective and receiving different perspectives.
Yeah. What would it look like if you were only doing what you wanted to be doing?
It would look peaceful. It would look like progress. Because I'm very practical. Like I believe in just doing things in a practical way. So if you need something, it would look like let's get it done. Like what are the steps to getting it done? I can't talk about the meeting that was about the meeting. Like that drives me nuts. So I would probably put a task to everyone, and when we came back, we have a solution. So it would look like progress you know, and working together. So that's kind of how I live and think. So I get frustrated when things are too convoluted because maybe my brain just doesn't compute. And so it would look very peaceful and progressive.
What are you most focused on right now and why?
I'm most focused on retiring in 4.5 more years,
Mhm.
and just so I can have more space for the Ox and building my business, which is inside of the Ox, and that's the Laundry Cafe, and helping people grow. Like I'm ready for that. Like I'm totally ready for that. And the last 3 years have been taxing on my time, but it's all gonna be worth it. I just know it. And so I would say that. I would say definitely my business, the Ox, and just me, and making sure that I'm healthy and stable and ready to go.
Yeah. Who are some of your co-conspirators, the people who help you meet some of the challenges that you face?
My friends, I mean, like they're solid. And I'm talking about, the Amanda Wrights of the world who've been with me since the eighth grade Haven line, where Jim McCollin and Mitch were our gym teachers. Like
You calling out names of people would know
calling out
too.
names because they are so solid. Like,
Yeah.
the Angelique Dailies and the Nicole Boyds, and there's just so many people. My Tiffany Holmes and my cousin Tamika and Felicia. And it's just no matter what, I can fail, I can succeed. The vibe doesn't change. It's like they push through. They're happy for you when you make it. They're there for you when you fail. And it's not like, you know, they're only happy for you when you do this. No, they're happy for you all the time. They're good with you all the time. And so they are my co-conspirators. Even when I was in high school and my parents were going through their thing, I didn't have a coat. Like I didn't have a winter coat. And I don't know why I didn't have a winter coat because I don't remember us just not having. But they all got together. My basketball friends, who are still my people today, they went out and bought me a coat. you know. And when it was time for me to go to college, their parents had my book money. When it's time for me to buy my house, my friends' parents, and then they had my earnest money for when I was trying to buy a house. When I adopted my kids, they were like, hey, you know, we knew you were going to need this one day. So they were always thinking about me, next step. When I didn't even understand the next step, they were ready. Like, yeah, we set a check aside for you. Like, what? Like, who does that?
Yeah.
So they are definitely my co-conspirators.
Mhm. It's interesting. You're living your life the way people have lived theirs and poured into yours. It's now just overflowing with what they've poured in. It's easy to see why you do what you do.
Definitely.
What can your community do to support you?
Honestly, I'm hoping that the entire community, but especially Black folks, check out what the ox means and why it's important, because we cannot ask for things, we cannot push for, we cannot march, we cannot come to meetings, we cannot do all of these things and then not support the initiatives that will get us there. Like, we have to be 100% behind it, and I feel like we're always a step behind, like the knowing curve, not the learning curve, but just the knowing curve. And because of our history and because of the abuse and because of the mistrust, we don't always jump in when we should. We're always kind of at pause. So I think that um, I feel like the aux is a solution to the next step, because I need my folks to be able to build. Once we make this successful, who's coming with me to this next one? And how do we build until we don't need others to give us anything? I want us to go out and get it ourselves, because that's just what I believe the solution is.
Yeah, yeah. I interviewed Chief Stewart over the summer, and she said her mother is her hero, and she said her mother told her, you know, anything you want, you can have in this world, and if you don't want it, go ahead and take it. America's a land of opportunity, and so what you're saying is pretty much the same thing, and I believe that it's time. You're right to take what we want, take what
Mhm.
is ours. Um, what can you continue to do for your community? I mean, you do so much. So that for me, asking this question, this is one of my questions. So, but what can you continue to do for your community?
I just need to continue to show up. I know there are a lot of people who are like, I don't like attention. I don't I just feel like if you do, you just show up. And some people show up just to be loud.
Yeah,
I don't, but then when it's time, you have no clue where they are. You don't know why they're there. You don't know what the agenda is. And I just want to show up, and I'll just be understood that I'm coming in peace. I'm coming with, like, if I can't do it, I'm gonna say I can't do it. If
yeah.
I can, I'll say I can. But I just want to show up, like, authentically.
Mhm. Do you have any? What's your vision for your community?
Um, First of all, self-preservation. Like, I feel like we have to step up for ourselves. And I'm learning, like, just being the police for over 20 years now. It's like we get worked up when we perceive something or someone as an enemy, and we're strong in that. And I just want us to have, like, that same energy for ourselves. Um and I want us to save ourselves, because there are a lot of places where we're losing, and we don't have to. Like, we just don't have to. And I want us to ignore the outside noises and say, hey, you know, how can I help you? Like, what can we do, like, today, to fix whatever the small problem is, or how do we collectively get together and deal with the big problem? But I just think that we are our own heroes, and I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting for us to know that, instead of, like, pushing against the powers that be. And they're there. They're always going to be there. They're not going anywhere. So how do we get around that?
Yeah. How long do you think it'll take for us to realize that, you know, help you realize your vision?
Um, Unfortunately, too long. But I think if we start to pay attention and just take one thing at a time and push it forward, then that's doable. We just have to bond together and be like, all right, this is whether it's something like the family focus building or the Ox and saying, hey, well, we're focused here. We can be focused on other things, but collectively, we're all focused on making sure that this building stays in the community. We're focused on making sure that this next project and push it through till we know that we have gotten it. But instead, we'll talk about it. Well, we want to save the family focus building. We lose it. Then I went to the fam draft and I come out the fam draft and I have a do not park here. I parked at the family focus building and I came out, do not park here. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. But because we did not fight, we did not show up, we did not invest or put our money where our mouths were, we lost that building. And now it's no longer a community building. It's a entity building and you can't have the community park there anymore. So we're slowly losing because we don't stand behind anything full throttle. And we have to learn to do that, like intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
And we're falling for everything right now.
Yeah. What does liberation look like for Black women?
Having our voices heard, just period. Like sometimes you just have to walk into a room and fight for so much and you're not asking for a lot. I feel like liberation is being authentically heard. Like I don't want to tell you how I feel and then you tell me how you think I feel. Because now I feel like I'm being caged and I don't like that because I am educated, smart enough, emotionally secure enough to say that I feel sad today. I'm like, well, you might just be, yeah. No, I'm telling you, this is how I feel, and you have to hear that. And I feel like I think that's with anyone though. Like once you're heard authentically, you feel liberated. You feel like you're safe to walk and be. So that would be what I think, for Black women would be important. Just hear us out, whether we're, the stereotype of your attitude and all that comes with something. That's not coming from, it's not like some innate, process that we have. It comes from somewhere. It comes from holding so much every day, all day, that when we get together, we hear each other. But we would like our men to hear us, our parents to hear us, our children to hear us, and giving us some grace and understanding that we're just bottled up with so much. We're thinking 900 miles a minute for everybody. Like I'm thinking about my kids, my mom, my dad, my dog. No matter what we're doing, it's like never stop. And then I look to the next person like, what you thinking about? Nothing. I'm good. Nothing.
Yeah.
How is that even possible? We got 900 things to do.
Yeah.
So just giving us some grace and hearing us and knowing that how we feel is how we actually feel and being heard authentically.
Yeah. I can admit, as a husband, I struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I tell my wife, I'm working at it. You may not see the results tomorrow, but hopefully you'll see the process being worked out. Right. And I'm hoping with this podcast that process can be worked out and we can help Black women all over, because I feel like I'm getting some of the same responses. And so I think it's important. I think it's very important.
Because it makes your life easier too. And I know it doesn't probably make sense, but if I feel like I don't have to think as much, I can do more for you. But if I'm constantly in the mind knot of what's next, I have to prioritize you now. And then you're like, well, I'm 10th. I'm like, well, you can move up to the 9th spot, but I just so getting up to number 1 is going to take help from other people.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, like, I think people in my family kept calling me the matriarch. Well, you're the matriarch of the family now.
Right.
I didn't ask for that.
Right.
Not even once. Not once did I ask for that, but it frustrated me. Like my father would keep saying it, like, well, you're that person now. And I'm like, well, where was the meeting? Like, did I miss the meeting? Like, how did I become the person who now has to hold down everything.
Yeah.
And some people aren't titled with that. Like you weren't given that. You made the choice of whether or not, okay, I'm gonna take care of my family, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. But that was your choice. Like I didn't have a choice. And so we have to figure out who we've given the burden to and then walked away from. So
Thanks for
Mm.
watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, let's stay connected.